Triad Wars is the flip side of Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs was all about the story of Wei Shen and taking you on a ride through along that story. Finding out what was going to happen to Wei Shen. Triad Wars is the other side of that, which is it's all about Hong Kong and it's all about the criminal underworld within Hong Kong. And this is about you creating your own game.
Triad Wars is an open world action strategy game. It's an online game. It's a PC title. It's a game that's going to change and evolve over time as people play it. It's really a kind of unique experience.
It's all about being a triad gangster who's
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Triad Wars Twitch stream. I'm Andrew Collins, the community manager.
Hi, I'm Raul. I'm one of the technical designers in the project. I look after all of the gameplay systems and implementation of the game.
And Steve Ferreira, design director on Triad Wars.
And joining us on the keyboard is Sam. Sam, come in and say hello.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Sam. So, thanks for everyone for joining us today, and hope everyone, we've got some good stuff in store. We're going to talk about raids and operations, lots of entertaining stuff. So to start with, let's get going with some questions. So we've had a lot of questions about the process of raiding. If you're being raided, how do you know that that's happening?
So, you want to take this one?
Go ahead.
Okay, so when you're raided, it's actually done while you can be online or you can be offline, it doesn't matter. And so you actually won't know that you're being raided until it's happened. So really what you need to do is make sure that you prep your turf so it's as defended as it can be at all times, because you never know when it's gonna come, and there's nothing you can do about it once it's started. So yeah.
So what's the best way to defend against being raided?
So there's a few different things you can do. Basically building up your turf to have more rackets, so more areas that the players have to go through to be able to raid your turf.
Yep.
Leveling up those rackets and making sure that there is, have as many defenders as they possibly can. And your gang members. You can also upgrade your gang members, so you can upgrade their abilities, you can upgrade their health, you can upgrade how effective they are with their different attack types. You can upgrade the weapons that they have.
Yeah.
You can also upgrade your enforcer, because your enforcer is part of that raid sequence as well. So at the end of it, if somebody attacks your safe house, then they'll have to deal with you and your character. So making sure that you have good weapons, making sure that you've been upgraded, making sure that your skills, you've unlocked different skills, changes the way that fight happens with your enforcer as well.
So say if you're taking on a level 1 enforcer versus a level 10, how does that raid differ?
So like I said, you'll basically have different moves. The enforcers will have different moves during the fights. They'll have access to different weapons, so you might come into the fight at first and it's only melee based. Then they might unlock, the ability to use a hatchet or a machete. Another time you might encounter the enforcer with a machine gun or a shotgun.
Yeah.
There's also favors that you can get from different characters throughout the world, and those will help you with defense. You can basically, whenever a raid happens, the cops will respond, and you can make the cops respond sooner so that somebody has less time to raid your turf, and lots of different ways that you can modify that raid event.
Okay. So you can be raided while you're already at your safe house?
Correct, yeah. You can be in your turf, and you can still be raided. It's all asynchronous, so you don't have to be out in the open world for that to happen. Okay. You don't have to be online for that to happen. It can happen at any time.
So I'm sat at home and I'm not actually playing the game. If you raid my racket, how does that? What happens to me? Do I see anything? Or?
So yeah, you'll get a notification, and it'll show what the result of that raid was. You'll see what the player has taken from you. You'll see kind of a quick synopsis of what happened in that raid.
Yep.
And that'll also let you know about what you'll need to do the next time to better defend your turf.
Okay, great. So we can see, thanks to everyone so far who's posting all the questions, that's great. One of the ones that we were asked a lot across Facebook, Twitter and all the other sources was, what about co-op? Can you and I go in a game and play this together?
So we don't have co-op set up right now, but we definitely have plans for co-op in the future.
Yep.
We've got a bunch of cool ideas on how this can work with multiple players, so we're pretty excited about getting that up and running soon.
Oh, and so to answer everyone's question, yes, we will be giving out some beta keys. Yes, there is a closed beta coming up soon, so if you've not registered, it's definitely worth registering because we're going to need a good amount of beta keys to be given out soon. So anyone who gets a question asked today, you've got a beta key, so that's a good start to answering a lot of questions. So Leet Ultimate says, is there a ranking structure in the game like Red Pole, etc.?
Yeah, I'll answer that one. Definitely, as you progress through the game, we really want to give you that feel that you're part of a triad. So we are taking what we learned from Sleeping Dogs, and we have that whole structure. You start from the very bottom. You're not even initiated as you start in the game, but as you raid more people, earn more phase, get more loot, get your turf bigger, you will eventually become Dragonhead.
Okay, so I tell you what, we've asked a few questions. Let's have a look at how the game how a raid works.
Sure. I'll let Raul play.
All right, let's begin. The first thing that we're gonna do is go into our map and figure out who we're gonna be raiding. As you can see, there's a bunch of people here populating into our game.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is start targeting them and see, okay, so who do we have here? We have Zephyr.
Yep.
He has 8,941 phase. He's got about 5 rackets. Oh, 6 rackets. That's pretty good. Let's take a look at the next guy. We have Moriak. He's got 3,380 and 7 rackets. It looks like a bunch of his rackets are empty. So let's take a look at 18K. All right. So this guy has 5 rackets. Maybe this is what I'm gonna do. One of the things I'm gonna do is take a look at how many operations he's got in the open world. What do we have here? We have an extortion operation for food carts.
So each one of the little operation signs we see there is attached to 18K.
Yep,
So when you filter on the map, you just see 18K stuff.
that's correct.
Okay.
So this is all about taking him out.
Yeah. And so
That's
why are we looking at doing operations first? So
All right.
just going to the big fight.
Yeah, so as I do operations, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be earning a little bit of rewards. Let's say that I'm targeting this vehicle operation.
Okay.
So I want to get some vehicle parts, some auto parts, and I'm going to get some more time in order for me to tackle his turf.
Okay.
Now what's happening here is I'm distracting the cops. I'm sending them to these operations so that they can see what happened over there. So the response time is...
They can't be in 2 places at once.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna take a look at the apothecary one first.
Yep.
Whoop. All right. So let's get out of here. And what do we have? Okay, here's my card.
Oh, that's quite a nice car you've got there.
Hey. Cap perks. Excellent.
So how long, I was just about to say how long before you smash it up, and it was less than a second.
Let's just be...
That's all right. You can always buy another one.
Oh, okay, well I guess if you're
I
a
have money, right?
Triad member, money doesn't matter.
And of course, we can get it repaired. Cool. Here we go. It's the tight alleyways of Hong Kong.
Yeah. So when you guys were building the city, what type of research did you go into? Did you guys go over to Hong Kong to get some photos?
Yeah, so originally when we designed the world out for Sleeping Dogs, we had a team of guys go out to Hong Kong for a couple of trips
Yeah.
and take tons of reference photos. I think we came back with upwards of 20,000 reference photos.
Wow.
Guys spent time there. We had contacts there, and we spent time getting shown around by different people, obviously, who know the city well.
Yeah.
And really made sure that we absorbed what Hong Kong, the feel of Hong Kong, so we could get it accurate. Obviously, we're still, we're using that same city that's been modified somewhat for Triad Wars, so that we've added the turf locations and a few other things to the world. So it's not exactly the same it was in Sleeping Dogs, but the core there is still there, which is the flavor of Hong Kong.
Okay, so let's dive into this operation then and see how it goes.
All right, let's do this. It looks like there's a bunch of thugs that are selling.
So Raul's targeted the rival, and the rival we looked at earlier, there was a bunch of different rackets,
Yep.
and those rackets have now spawned these operations. So Raul's just started this operation.
All right.
His objective is to defeat the group of thugs here. So this is a group of gang members from the rival's gang that he's taking out.
Okay.
Oh,
And so the game it's pretty high level detail. It's, are we looking at kind of the same level of graphical fidelity as Sleeping Dogs?
So there's obviously some improvements that we've made since then as well. It's PC first, so obviously depending on what PC specs are, you'll have a different range of visual fidelity.
Yeah.
But if you've played Sleeping Dogs on PC before, you can expect to be able to run it just like you did before. And all the high-res texture packs and everything else that was there previously on Sleeping Dogs, that's still here as well.
Okay, sweet. And thanks to Phil Aaron for that question. Phil, you've just got yourself a beta key. And stay tuned to the end of the show and we'll tell you how you get hold of it. So the operations they're relatively short things, they're kind of like bite-sized action.
Yeah, so they're scattered throughout North Point, and they're all different flavors depending on the racket that has generated that operation.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was actually a smuggling racket, and as a result, Raul has gotten a small reward of apothecary goods, which is generated by that racket in that rival's turf, and he's also completed one of possible 5 operations to reduce, to increase the raid timer available to him when he does decide to raid that rival.
So does each operation give him the same amount of time, or does that differ based on level?
So it based on the level of the racket. So if a rival has a high level racket, then the operation is going to be more difficult. It's going to have there might be more guys to deal with. Maybe the guys have different weapons, or whatever that rival has unlocked for their gang.
Yeah.
They'll be slightly different objectives. So they'll vary depending on the level of the racket that's associated with the operation.
all right. I'm gonna tackle another one right here.
So in this case, what do we got here?
We're going to chase him down.
So the 18K, I'm having trouble reading this.
18K is sent us by to take pictures of our
There you go.
operations. Don't let them get away.
Yeah, the 18K has been spying on us. We're gonna make sure we get the information back.
All right.
So first Raul has to find the guy.
First, he's got a light cigarette by the look of it.
Relaxed. Apparently.
So there he is.
Oh, no, I have to make sure I don't.
Taken off. Good thing is he looks like he's got a bit of weight to him,
Yeah.
so it shouldn't be too hard to catch him.
He's not going to have full speed attribute, has he?
No. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit him with this sword.
Oh, take that. That's got to hurt.
And now that he's here, you were gonna tell me what you know.
All right, so Raul's caught him. He's got the information back. As a reward, he's also got some access to some additional car parts that's generated by that racket. And now he's increased his raid timer further.
Well, it's kind of good that he's got some car parts. I'm pretty sure he's going to need some soon.
Yeah.
So if Raul had failed that operation, that's a lost opportunity. He won't be able to complete that operation again.
Oh, okay. So you
so
can't
once-
just keep retrying them.
Correct. You can't keep retrying them. Once you've exhausted the available operations for a given rival,
Yep.
then it's time to raid them. It's time to take them out.
Okay.
If you've gotten a bonus to the timer, great. If you haven't, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do a full raid and take everything that's in that player's turf.
So say if I'm playing the game and I've done 5 operations for one raid, but I don't have time to do the raid, if I kind of come back to the game an hour later, is everything still in place?
So every time you log into the game, your rivals are refreshed.
Yeah.
You can also choose to refresh your rivals and target, specific players who have what you need, what you want.
Yeah.
But if you log off, you've lost that opportunity essentially to raid those
Okay, so
players.
it's kind of like
and they might come back again, but most likely you're going to get a new set of rivals to raid.
So it's like saving through halfway through a mission, basically.
Yeah, well, basically you won't be able to save halfway through. So at this point, it would make most sense for Raul to go and raid that rival as
I'm
opposed
gonna
to
do
logging
right
off.
now.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So
now
here's
starting
his
the raid?
turf. I'm gonna start a raid.
Yep.
There's his outdoor defenses. Let's see what happens if I just run over.
Not much.
Yeah. Apparently they have some.
They've got defenses you didn't even know about.
Hey guys. Sorry.
Oh dear.
No, not really.
The
Oh, I damaged my car enough. Can't get out.
The valet parking at that place.
All right, let's do this now.
All right, so Raul's starting the raid.
Boy.
He's just excited.
Oh, here we go. Let's start with the first racket.
So, I believe this rival has 5 rackets in it. Raul's raiding the first of those 5. He has 13 minutes essentially to finish the raid. At any point, he can choose to leave, but obviously he doesn't get any rewards at that point.
Okay.
And if he leaves without defeating any rackets, then he actually takes a hit to face himself.
Right.
So if he either dies or doesn't accomplish any of his objectives in the raid, the defending player actually receives a reward as opposed to Raul, and Raul loses that phase.
Yeah. So each time Raul is beating one of the rackets, what happens to 18K here? Is he's losing face each time?
Yeah, so there's different objectives when you start a raid. We basically have 3 triad marks that you complete through a raid.
Yeah.
And those are essentially around defeating each of the rackets, or defeating one of the rackets, defeating all the rackets,
Yeah.
and then defeating the enforcer.
Okay.
And each one of those gives rewards a different amount of face.
Yeah.
And obviously defeating each of the rackets also rewards you whatever inventory of that commodity they have stored in the racket at the time.
So I can see at the top of the screen it says 11:42. That's the time left in this raid. So Valikos asks us, is there a maximum amount of time that can be added to the raid time?
Yeah, so there definitely is. We're still tuning through this, but there is a maximum amount of time that you can get through operations, and by default when you go do a raid. But you can also unlock favors that will give you more time, that will call off the cops and distract them for a bit longer.
It's never infinite time.
So yeah, so by just playing with the way that Raul's done this raid, there's a cap here, but you can increase it with other mechanics.
Okay. Hey, just to Kung Fu Bear, thanks for your message out there. I think you just got yourself a beta key. That doesn't mean everybody else compliment us. Yeah, it's a little bit tougher than that. So Valikos as well will send you a beta key as well. So stay tuned to the end of the show to find out. Oh, that's done.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the mistake that I just made. Before entering my turf, this raid, I forgot to equip a weapon. So I came in here without any ranged weapons. So I had to steal a weapon from the enemy.
Okay.
Thankfully I managed to do it before they killed me.
However, now Raul has limited amount of ammunition, and he'll have to continue taking weapons off players to be able to replenish his ammunition.
Yeah, so I'm going to be conservative here and just
That's a rookie mistake.
fight.
Yeah.
All right. This guy just keeps running away from me. All right. Let's see what we got.
So Raul's entering a low-level gambling den here, and you see there's no nothing stopping you from choosing to use a weapon or not use a weapon. You can, the defender here, he has a knife because the rival that he's attacking is upgraded and unlocked the knife. He had pistols in the last fight because the player had unlocked pistols. If Raul had unlocked a machine gun or a shotgun, he could have brought that in as well, but again, he didn't preset our loadout, so
Now
he's
I'm
having to make do with what he's got.
Yeah. These guys over here, actually, my guys, they're actually helping us take out that particular racket. All right, let me go in here now.
So Raul's completed 2 of the 5 rackets. If we wanted to, he could leave at this point, or he could continue to try and finish the remaining
Look at that
rackets.
guy. He's calling for help. Hey, don't let him. Oop, that was a big mistake again.
So to a few people are commenting on the volume out there. We've lowered the volume, so if it's still not, if you can still have trouble hearing what we're saying, let us know. We'll look at that.
That was dangerous. All right, let's do this again. Not making those mistakes.
So we've got another question, this time about how the police will get involved. So this is a question from Comrade81 who says, will police enforcement enter the fray as a third party, which causes conflict and interrupts the players?
So yeah, so if Raul doesn't accomplish the raid in time, then the cops will show up and the player will have to deal with that.
Okay, so it's all timer based when the cops turn up.
That's right.
Okay. Thanks for the question. You yourself just got a new beta key.
All right.
Good. So how many rockets have we done so far?
We've done 2. I think I'm gonna move on. I feel that I'm not gonna have enough ammo, so maybe I should just move forward here. 1.
So things changing a little bit. What's this?
So Raul just did a vault shoot.
Yeah.
So just like in Sleeping Dogs, we have actual focus mode,
Yeah.
where if Raul vaults over and while he's aiming, he gets a brief window of slow-mo to take out an enemy. If he manages to kill that enemy, he extends that window. And it's one of the upgrades that Raul has unlocked at this point to extend the amount of slow-mo he has.
Oh, okay, cool. That
during
makes
this.
sense. So Moshkix asks, will there be weapons of different qualities? And if so, how do I get them?
Yes, so you start off with a humble set of weapons, basically a pistol,
Yeah.
and everything else has to be unlocked. So weapons can, obviously, just like Raul did here, if you're raiding somebody and those weapons are there and available via the game server, you can take those from your enemies and you can use them. You have limited amount of ammunition at that point, so obviously you only get to use it as long as you still have ammunition. Once
Okay.
the raid's ended, you lose access to those weapons. So what you really want to do is unlock weapons for yourself. And again, you can do that through getting contacts in the open world who give you favors, and those favors will unlock different weapons. And we have all the same weapon types that we did from Sleeping Dogs, except with a bigger variety of weapons, and obviously those weapons vary in the amount of ammo they carry, and the accuracy that they have, and the damage that they deal, and the rate of fire. And you can carry, unlike in Sleeping Dogs where you can only have a weapon at any one time, you can actually carry a melee weapon, a single-handed weapon, and a double-handed weapon at all times. So if Raul had unlocked all 3 of those, he could actually set up his loadout to come into the raid with all 3 of those weapons available to him.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready to tackle the Enforcer encounter.
So
Let's go
what
up
level
here.
is this guy?
I think he was level 5.
Right.
Yeah, so this Enforcer should be a level 5 Enforcer, and Raul just fought through the safe house.
Yeah.
So he defeated a couple rackets, went through the warehouse, defeated enemies there, defeated the safe house enemies, and now he's fighting the rival inside of his own penthouse.
Right.
All right.
So at this point, if Raul dies, he's lost everything that he's gained up to this point. However, if he succeeds, he's going to get the most amount of possible face because he's taken out the Enforcer.
So if I get to this point, my health's pretty low, I've not got much ammo, can I just duck out of the Enforcer fight and keep what I've earned so far?
Yes, you can. Now, as you can see, I have very little health, so this might be a coin toss for me. Let's see. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I do not fancy a choice.
Aha.
How's your ammo at this point?
Looking
Only
at
21.
about a clip and a half.
Oh, no. Ah, I did it there. Oh.
One more guy.
And absolutely no health.
He has no health. He
One
takes
hit.
one hit, he's dead.
Oh,
And he died.
that was good.
Okay, so
There you go. So this guy defeated me.
So, yeah.
This is what you're gonna see. Now I lost a little bit of face.
Yeah. Between
Literally.
us, you lost some face.
Yeah.
Hit the button.
So there you go.
Okay.
So you see, as a result, because he lost, even though Raul had collected a bunch of different resources from attacking the rackets,
Yep.
he's lost those. He does not get to keep them, and he loses face. And the face he lost gets transferred to the other rival. So the next time 18K logs into the game, he's going to see that Raul attempted to raid him, and that his face is increased as a result because he was defeated.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was really looking forward to beating this guy because I really wanted to do one of our other missions.
Yeah,
So mention that.
So
Okay.
obviously, what the main goal here that Raul is what Raul is really trying to do is get enough resources to complete an export mission.
Yep.
We touched on this briefly in the last blog, and I don't know whether Raul has enough resources in order to fulfill that export order now. He might have to go do another raid to take what he needs.
So one of the things that you're going to see is if I go into the map, you'll see that that location is no longer available for us to raid. So let me show you what happens basically. Here, I'm just going to steal this nice little van.
Yeah, different, somewhat different drive to the one that we got there in.
Yeah, I mean, I died, I lost it.
Raul's a resourceful guy. Apparently, he likes to use what he's got at hand.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
So,
So obviously, as you could see, my mistake of not bringing good weapons into the raid cost me dearly.
yeah.
So it's important that we do that. Maybe one of the things I can show is what I should have done. And here
So
you can see that there we have our loadout screen. So we have right now all I've unlocked is a 9mm and pump shotgun.
Okay.
And let's see what we have melee. Ooh, a kitchen knife.
Okay.
So that would have been really useful in my previous raid.
Yeah, any one of those three would have certainly helped a lot.
Definitely.
So we're just going to take a couple of questions from the community while you're driving around. So Made in Quebec, interesting spell, says, so getting raided makes you lose resources. Isn't there a risk of consistently being raided become a problem?
So no, actually, what Raul is doing right now is just showing that so that turf location in his world has now been occupied by the police, and they've set up a crime scene there, and Raul cannot go and raid that location again for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And as a result, the player who previously occupied that turf is now shielded for a certain amount of time as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you don't come and log on and maintain your turf, you have more at risk to lose, but you won't be raided over and over and over and over and over again repeatedly. There will be opportunities to log in and deal with people raiding.
So Resident 4T says, what can you do to better prepare yourself for raids? Are there going to be things you can do to lessen enemy reinforcements or similar things like that?
Well, I think Raul showed a really good example of that we talked about, which was obviously going into the raid with full health, making sure that he's regened, making sure that he's set up his loadout properly so that he actually has weapons in case his rival has weapons and his rival gang has weapons is going to be a big part of that. Earning XP and using that to level up the upgrades for your enforcer is going to be a big part of that as well, because you're going to be able to unlock new moves, you're going to be able to increase your abilities, and it's going to make the raids easier relative to whatever your enemy has upgraded.
Okay, so...
and then the last thing is the favors, which we touched on earlier, which are going to allow you to come in with different perks and benefits when you come into the raid.
Yeah.
So as you can see right now, there's a crime scene set up around this turf.
Yeah.
I just found that my car's still there. Maybe it's a bad idea to leave it there. They might find out it's
Well,
me.
it
You know
wasn't
what?
your car a couple of hours ago, it was someone else's, wasn't it?
Yeah. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out and see if I can... Oh no, I actually trashed it before.
Yeah.
I think you blew it up.
There we go.
Let's see what happens. Oh, it's not blown. I'm just going to pay a little respect to the cops here. Oh. See you guys.
Oh, you're in trouble now.
Yeah, don't do this. You
So the great thing about this is people who been to Hong Kong or lived in Hong Kong will recognise all the streets.
Yeah, and also the cops.
Yeah, they'll be watching thinking, oh, you don't want to turn up there in a police chase. Oh,
Taken out.
you used environmental assistance there.
So the flow that Raul just went through, obviously he can do that again. There's 5 more rivals in the area of North Point that Raul's in, and each of those obviously has more operations. So if we went back to the map, we could target another rival and have another crack at getting the resources we needed to fill to fill our export order.
Yeah, okay.
And during that time, the cops will obviously, they've taken over that turf location that Raul just raided.
Yeah.
But that will replenish and refresh with a brand new rival, so that Raul will always have new enemies to
So
choose from.
it's never a case that you have to, you play for a certain amount of time. You have to wait.
No, there's always something else to do, right? So Raul could go around the open world and gain resources other ways, do more operations, raid different rivals. There's a few other things in open world that get triggered. He could get ambushed by one of the rivals if he's rolling around their territory. He could encounter a group of patrols that he has to fight. Different things that could happen in the open world.
So Alicia27 on Twitch asked, can I make a team with my friends and raid other players and steal their money and so on?
So forming groups of triads with other players is something that we definitely want to do. We have some pretty cool ideas to go along with that. We won't have it available out the gate, but it's something we're excited about working on, so stay tuned for that.
So everyone who asked questions about clans, that's the answer for you. So Genji1994 says, is there a way to lock up the oh, that was harsh. To lock up your rackets when you're offline? So, how do you protect yourself more?
So, generally, your turfs are, they're available as long as you're not shielded. They are available to be raided by other players.
Yeah.
There are some favors you can get that'll help reduce that, so you can increase the amount of time that you're shielded for, or again, reduce things like the amount of time that other players will have to raid you. But generally, you're, you have to, the best defense is a good offense.
Okay. So, if you want to help yourself, make yourself a higher level.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Make sure you upgrade as much as you can. Upgrade your defenders, your gang, upgrade your enforcer. Make sure you get good gear, good weapons. Make sure that you get as many favors from different contexts as you can to give you different perks and benefits for defending your turf. And then make sure that you're doling out as much punishment as you're receiving, or more preferably.
There's also that thing where if you maintain your turf and keep it up to date, always make sure that you secure your goods, the less amount of stuff that people can take away from you.
Okay.
So just make sure you keep doing that.
All right, so we've got another question. Give me a minute to pronounce. So it's XGWEX Brian. Can you customize the AI that protect your base, such as giving them guns instead of knives? Or is that just a function of the level?
So which weapons they have is a function of the level of the racket, but obviously the availability of those weapons is based on...
That was cool.
I didn't like my car anymore, sorry.
Sorry, Steve.
That's all right.
I really like that moment.
The availability of the weapons is based on whether they've been unlocked, and also whether how much they've been upgraded.
Okay, so thanks everyone so far for all the questions. There's some great ones out there. We're still not done, so there's still plenty of beta keys left out there. So let's have a look at some of the ones that we got from Facebook. So someone says, if you successfully defended your turf, will face be the only reward?
So yes, if you defended your turf, what you're going to do is receive face from the player who attempted to raid you. That also opens up an opportunity for you to try and hit them back, to take their stuff from them, but for defending the raid, you get face.
And just remember, as you get more face, you get more levels, you unlock more stuff.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you're getting rewarded for being a good defender.
So this is a slightly different question. One of the guys on the website asked us this. So obviously there's a lot of inspiration from like Hong Kong movies. What are your guys' favorite movies from Hong Kong?
Well, a lot of what we were looking at with Triad Wars was actually from The Young and Dangerous.
Okay.
So that's kind of the most recent that we've been looking at as inspiration for kind of the tone of this game.
There's one movie that I really liked. It's called Prodigy. It has some really harsh scenes that really inspired a lot of our Sleeping Dogs moments.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a hard movie to watch, but we learned a lot about the Triad culture from it.
Okay. I have to say my favourite is Infernal Affairs. I absolutely love that movie.
Of course, Triad Election.
Yeah. I mean the American version was pretty good, but nothing beats the original of that one.
You know what?
So now we're doing another operation.
Oh!
Yeah, Raul's,
These guys actually were prepared for my little ambush.
so yeah, Raul started pulled out his weapon, and as a result, so did they.
I
So-
was not prepared for that.
So suspected terrorist asks, can you cancel a raid that's in progress?
Yeah, so anytime you go into a raid, at any point you can choose to leave that raid.
So it's like earlier when Raul really should have probably
He
not
probably
taken on
should-
the enforcer.
Yeah, with no ammunition and low health,
Yeah.
and just a pistol going into that fight, he probably should have taken what he had already earned
Yeah.
and taken less face but more commodities.
Yeah.
Instead, he went for broke, and
So basically
he
saying no,
lost.
Bad decision.
know when to fall.
That's right. Yeah, that's definitely a big part of the strategy is knowing when you're beaten.
Yeah.
Make sure that you take as much as you can.
Of course, if you decide that you go in there and just run away without doing anything, well, you know, that's the face penalty right there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If
They
you,
know you came in and just ran away.
if you bottle it, then
So,
you don't deserve face.
so you have to make sure that you at least steal some of his goods before you run away. All right.
So what are we doing now? Are we just driving around, or are you going to go and try out another
We're
operation?
gonna try another operation and see.
Should do
So-
another raid.
Yeah, so,
I'm scared right now.
well, you're told up. You've got shopping, haven't you?
Yeah, now you know you have your weapons.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me just do that again.
You're not making
Make
that
sure.
mistake. Were you checking?
Hey,
You're a bit nervous.
Yeah,
there.
he's,
Yeah, there
let's
we go.
do this.
yeah, you're good.
It's gonna be a
He's
SMG this
taking
time.
SMG instead.
And you've still got the kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just one of those last resort weapons, you know. If I find a guy that's really bothering me, like one of those grapplers that just grappled me last time and kicked my ass, I'll use it against him.
So one of the questions we get from Sleeping Dogs fans is, we're going to have pork buns in the game again?
Oh, definitely. There's pork bun vendors. You can get a food cart racket as well. You can start up your own food cart racket and have a bunch of pork bun vendors out in the open world working for you. So that is definitely a big part of it.
Well, as a vegetarian, I'm looking forward to some nice warm tofu if you've got that.
Sure.
We can add that as a feature.
I hear they make pork buns out of all sorts of things now, so
Yeah, not necessarily pork.
not necessarily pork.
So we've got another question here. This is from CJLI95, and he says he'd kind of like a bit more information about how the operations are related to raids. So kind of the apothecary is always going to be a similar type of raid.
Yeah, so obviously the operations are generated by the rackets. So the rewards that you're going to get are related to, in addition to the raid timer, are going to be related to the racket that generated it.
Yeah.
And then obviously also the gameplay is going to be related in some way as well. So you might have an operation where you're supposed to take down a delivery of whatever. Maybe they're delivering seafood,
Yeah.
and you need to take out that delivery. So obviously, it's directly related to the racket that it's associated to.
Okay, that makes sense. So despite you having a huge cannon when you came out of the car, you still took a beating there.
I want to make sure that I have enough ammo at the end of the day. It's not be cocky here.
So,
See?
so speaking of, there's a question Jordan Shenkin asking. He says, can you defeat a rival player in a hand-to-hand fight, or do you need to have weapons?
Oh no, you can. Look at this.
Wow.
All right,
That's-
Raul's gang just showed up.
Now let's do this.
So the gang members that have turned up, these are all just AI guys determined just to kind of clear the way for you.
Yeah, so the higher level Raul is, the more guys are going to come out and help him on his raids.
Yep.
And you can see that Raul's gang members basically took out that room of the first racket for him, where he was about to die when he tried to take them out himself. So now he's got an advantage here. He's been able to go into the second room.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of his gang members actually took off after the other rackets, and they're fighting away against rival defenders.
So one of the things Sleeping Dogs got a lot of praise for was the martial arts fighting. How did you do all the the design for that originally? Because we're seeing it in such fantastic way in Triad Wars.
Yeah, so obviously, we didn't want to. The combat system is still there. There's definitely some things that we added, some new moves, some new combat props. Along with these new rackets, you're going to get interesting things to go along with those rackets, and a few new mechanics like our combat meter. So we had a combat meter in Sleeping Dogs, so we modified it slightly.
Yeah.
So basically, as Raul's defeating each enemy, you're noticing that he's getting these 25 XP showing up.
Yeah.
And then when he's in combat, there's a blue bar that shows up, and that's the combat meter. And depending on how well he does in combat, that combat meter will fill up.
Yeah.
Doing well in combat means obviously not getting hit yourself, and also using a variety of combat. So if Raul were to just continually try to use a straight punch against every enemy, aside from it not being very effective as a combat strategy, he's not going to fill his combat meter very much. Once he has filled up his combat meter, though, he can activate it, and that's going to give him a multiplier on the XP he earns.
Okay.
And it's also going to regenerate his health. So it'd probably be a good idea if he did this right now.
Yeah.
Right, it's almost full.
He's so close. He just needs a couple more kills.
Okay.
Getting close. Oh.
Oh, ambush. Yeah, getting close.
And then
But getting close to
he's
dying as well.
He's close, but not close enough. You can try to activate it.
All right, there
you go. So Raul's just activated his combat meter, and now he's getting more XP earned for every kill.
Yep.
And it looks like he hasn't upgraded his ability to regenerate his health, so it's not helping him in that way.
Yeah.
Which I generally need, apparently.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of approaching the penthouse here.
Yep.
This temple area, this is how it's going to look in the final game?
Yeah, so obviously each of the areas look different depending on what level they're upgraded to. The last two rivals that Raul's rated have been similar levels, so they've got similar safe house areas. They obviously had different rackets, so the first time Raul went through, there was 5 rackets, and it looks like this time he's got 4, and they're different than the previous ones. So obviously, yeah, it changes as you upgrade your turf.
So this is a question that came out from Twitter. This is from VozJS24, and he says, if I'm at home and you raid me, do I get a message saying I'm being raided and I have to let you raid me?
No, so you don't have to allow a raid. That's the great thing, is
Don't have
you're
any
at
choice.
the mercy of someone else.
Yeah.
And vice versa, everyone else is at your mercy as well. So you will get notified that you've been raided, and you'll know that as soon as the raid's been complete, but you won't know ahead of time. So the best strategy is to have a good defense set up ahead of time and to manage your turf actively and make sure that you're always keeping as little inventory vulnerable to other players' raids as possible.
Right, okay. So Resident 4T says, during the demo here, we're using a lot of guns. Does the game have more of a focus on that over hand-to-hand combat?
No, definitely not. It depends on what level a player is at, what gang members they've unlocked, what weapons they've unlocked. But generally, it's a toss-up. So it's whether an enemy will have, whether an encounter will be weapon-based or melee-based is randomized. So sometimes you're going to a raid and you might have more gunplay. Sometimes you go into a raid and you might have more melee. But again, you need to kind of balance your upgrades and your investment into your gang and your enforcer in both of those areas. to make sure that you're well equipped for whatever gets thrown at you.
Okay. So we're approaching this penthouse here. This is a bit nicer than the previous one, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so it looks like this rival has upgraded their penthouse a lot more than the last rival. Raul can actually win. He's got quarter health left.
You've not used your big gun yet?
It looks like I encountered one of those nice little beta bugs.
I want to use the SMG.
Where I lost all my guns.
Oh, so Raul already depleted everything and lost it to the defenders. So he's got about 1.5 clips left. He might have to take out the remaining defenders by hand.
Yeah, this is dangerous again. I like this.
Well, at this point, how many rackets have you taken now?
I took 2 out.
So you could, if you will want to be more cautious.
I could just again run away.
Yeah.
But now I have 4 bullets and very bad aim. Now I got nothing.
So you can see the 2 rackets that Raul attacked earlier. They were both money-producing rackets. So there's actually a $sign above Raul's head over here,
Yeah.
right there, and that's letting him know that that's what he has at stake right now is cash. If he had
Okay.
raided a racket with shipment of goods, then the icon for that would appear there as well.
Yeah.
And that way he knows what's kind of at risk with going further into the raid.
And there we go. That was another
All right.
tough one for me there.
So you won.
I won.
That's a perfect demo.
Saving
Win-
a little face.
Win and a loss.
There you go. So as you can see, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, as you can see, I took Apothecary and Dirty Money, and I didn't raid the other 3 rackets, which were money rackets. But this is what I came for. I wanted some Apothecary goods, which I can sell later on for a good amount of money.
And because Raul completed 2 of the Triad marks, he's won 67 face. And now, if he continues through, this turf is now locked down by the cops again.
Okay.
Because he was able to successfully complete
Right,
it.
so you can't just go mining them all the time.
Nope. You'll have to move around and attack different rivals. You have to move around the city. You can't just focus on one location and just sit there and hassle that one location all the time.
Yeah.
So now
Now this is my own turf.
so we're into, this is kind of your safe zone then.
Yes.
Yeah, so Raul's come back to his own turf. He should be managing, his area, making sure that his goods are being used, that he just won, although he just won money and no additional, well, a small amount of commodities. And now he potentially could go do an export now if he'd gotten the resources he needs to fill out that export. So we can go check it out.
Take a look.
It looks like
It looks like I do have enough.
Yeah, it looks like he has enough knockoff electronics to be able to do the export. So
Alright.
at this point, he could do that for a big reward in face and dirty money in the game.
Okay, so let's go and take a look.
Let's see.
And do you want to check your loadout first?
Let's do that now.
So while you're doing that, we've got another question. This is from Mecha Pilot. Sorry it's taken so long to get around to this one. Will there be like a speedy version of raiding, like smash and grab mode in APB, for those of us who don't really want to commit?
So no, you
Gotta put the time in.
So you got to put the time in. Obviously, the amount of operations you do and favors that you use ahead of time will dictate the amount of time that you have to do the raid. So raids will be shorter if you just go straight after the rival without doing any of the legwork ahead of time. And obviously, you can choose to raid as much or as little as you want within the raid. But if you want to take something from other players, you've got to go in there by force and take it from them.
I have to say how much I love the water effects on the roads. It's awesome. It just looks so good.
And then it rains a lot in Hong Kong.
Kind of like here in Vancouver.
So Gaboon
Can relate.
asks, what's the cooldown on raids? Does it differ?
You want to
Cooldown rates pretty standard. It as far as the amount of time that it takes for the cops to clean out that crime scene. However, if you're talking about the timer it takes to raid a turf, it's entirely dependent on the amount of buildings that the enemy has, and maybe some of the favors that he's played. Maybe he decided that he wanted to to call in more copper reinforcements.
Yeah.
So you will have less time to raid that.
Okay.
Making it, you actually have to make tough decisions during the raid
Yeah.
if that happens. All right, so here we go. This is an export right here. Let's see what we got. All right, looks like they're coming after our shipment of knockoff electronic goods.
Yeah, so Raul's just been tipped off that he's going to be sending out his knockoff electronics shipment, and someone's going to come out and try to take it from him. So if he succeeds, he'll get a huge sum of face and money. So this would be tragic if he failed, because he would lose those resources, and obviously the opportunity cost of gaining a bunch of face and
Yeah.
money.
But this time, Raul has made sure he's checked his loadout and it's fully
He's set
spec'd
up.
up.
Set up.
So Raul's
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
he's got to keep the car alive and himself alive
Yeah.
and the driver alive until he gets to the shipping port, while Rival is attacking.
Yes.
And so is there a timer at this point, or it's all a bit more nervy than that? You don't know how far away you are?
Yeah, so Raul doesn't know exactly how far he needs to go. It's different each time. Sometimes, it's depending on the start location, obviously, and which shipping port you're going to be taking it to.
Yeah.
Is going to change the amount of time you need to defend your cargo. But
And the enemies I'm facing right now are basically entirely dependent on what the opponent has upgraded with this guy.
Okay.
And of course, there's a chance that cops will come and try to get me because of all the havoc I'm creating on the streets.
Yeah, I can understand why
Makes
they
it
want to get...
really hard. Look at this.
So Hyper Elf asks, will you be able to see other real-world players on your map?
yes, so I mean the rivals that are populating the different turrets on the map are all real players.
Right.
And then once you raid them, you can actually see their enforcer when you raid the safe house.
Okay.
They're going to be the last line of defense, sitting in their penthouse. The characters that you fight, that is literally the player's enforcer. It looks like what they look like.
Right.
It's upgraded the way they've upgraded. He uses the weapons that player has unlocked and set up.
So if
It is that player.
if that player has put some tattoos on his enforcer, we see those tattoos when we attack.
Yep.
This is a little crazy.
But when it comes to kind of walking around the city, just in sandbox, we don't actually see the other gamers do it.
No, it's not a synchronous game where you're walking around and interacting with players in a live environment.
Yeah.
It's asynchronous, so when it doesn't matter if another player is offline or online, they can still populate your world.
There we go.
That's the AI representation of your player.
We got to the...
So Raul managed to get a shipment there.
First time.
To to Top Glamour Imports and ship out that cargo. So he got a massive payout in money and in face.
Okay.
And this is a one-time opportunity. If you fail, you lose your goods, unless you have some sort of insurance favor, and this thing goes away. Of course, as you play through the game, more will be created in your world.
Yeah, these are opportunities that pop up over time, and so you want to make sure you make the most out of those opportunities because they're not coming back so easily. So.
Right. So now you're just going to drive around for a few minutes. But yeah, we've got a few more minutes left for the Q&A, so if you've got anything that you really want to ask, post it on the stream. If we've not asked it yet, remind us that we've not asked it, so let's go through that. So 200 Dinara says, would we be able to kill other players, and would we be able to take his stuff? So I guess that means like in raids and take all their weapons and so on.
Yeah, so we're right now when you raid another player, what you take is their resources that they've produced inside of their turf within their rackets. But that's definitely something we've been looking at and that we've got some ideas around is availability to not only just take the inventory they've produced, but also interact with the player's gear and good and personal items as well.
Okay. We've got another one here from Ultimate Gohans, and he says, what happens if the police catch you?
So if the
Let's
cops
take a
catch
look
you,
at it, right? Shall we?
oh, we can try it.
Are you going to annoy them?
I'm gonna go just straight into a crime scene. Why not?
So
Best way to call that.
So everything's driven by your face. You know, your goal here is to rise up through the triads and go through the different ranks to become Dragonhead.
Yeah.
And you're only going to become Dragonhead if
not
you
do
have
that
the
again.
most face.
Yeah.
And so really, that's the gating factor for a lot of things in the game. And if you get busted by the cops, well, that doesn't really look good for your reputation. So that's going to be a big hit to your face, as well as dying. Losing a raid, attempting to do a raid, getting raided by other players, all of that stuff is a knock to your face. So,
See, cop response is very much depending on what kind of crimes you commit, right?
Yeah.
If you shoot at a cop, it's likely you will not get arrested. They'll just shoot at you. So
Yeah.
in this case, maybe what I'll do is, even taking out my gun here, they're like, what are you doing? So I could escape. As you could see, there was a contextual prompt there. And now I've been arrested. And because of that, I lost some face.
so the other thing is that Raul had managed to get some weapons by taking them from rival enemies in the open world. So let's say he hadn't unlocked
Still the
he
police
hadn't
car.
unlocked an assault
what
rifle
can I
yet, but he did manage to take an assault rifle away from one of the enemies during an operation.
Yeah.
If he got arrested, they would confiscate that weapon.
Okay.
And then he would no longer have access.
So you've kind of got to get that back to your safe house to secure it.
Well, you got to unlock it yourself or stay alive and don't get arrested.
Right, okay. So one of my favourite questions came in this morning from GTA AG on Twitter, and he says, can I find bodies on crime scenes and sell their organs?
I really like that idea.
Yeah, not yet is the answer.
Yeah. Yes, we have that plan.
Yeah.
And we were always planning. No, you can't do that right now. But I like that idea.
I think that definitely deserves a beta key.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that this morning. Thought, there's no way I'm not asking that question.
This card to use.
And so another question on Twitter was Rick VD Brand, who says, can I use explosives to increase my chances of success on a raid?
So definitely the gear you bring in is going to help with the raid. It obviously depends on how you approach an encounter. You know, generally it's best to try to take hand-to-hand on with hand-to-hand and weapons on with weapons. But we've seen weird things and people do weird stuff. You could bring you know, Raul did it earlier where he used his vehicle as an explosive. I find that that's a really good way to start off a raid if you've got a lot of guys guarding the entrance of a turf. Just launch your vehicle at them and blow it up.
Yeah.
And then we have some weapons that are obviously explosive as well. And it depends on how you use it. If you're in a raid and you're in a tight space, explosives is probably not the best idea because you're going to end up hurting yourself. But obviously in more open spaces, you can use explosives to help you out.
Okay. So another question here from the stream. It's from Zero Replicant Zero. He says, can we earn and lose face in raids? So sorry, he says, so we can earn and lose face in raids. Can you actually lose enough that you go down a level?
Yes. So that your rank within the Triad is moving up and down all the time. If you get raided too often or too many times without retaliating and getting out on the street and raising your face as well, then you will lose ranks within the Triad and you'll drop down the pecking order.
Nice.
So what happened there then? Is he still shuffling away?
Yeah, but you know what?
Oh,
I
unlucky.
really didn't like that guy.
Yeah, he annoyed me too. So we were talking earlier about
stealing our
the
stuff.
environmental weapons. I don't suppose there's any saws around here is that we could show off as a final move for the fans.
Swords. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, saw.
Oh,
You know the one we looked at yesterday? Oh. When you drive, you really are a bus magnet.
there's traffic in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I have heard it's pretty bad.
I can show one that is not very nice, especially against a pedestrian here. But
Well, he's a bit groggy after that, isn't he?
see what happens when I use him. Well, this had a helmet.
Yeah, he's got a helmet. That's all right. Just knocked him out.
Yeah.
He'll get up later.
It'll
All right.
smart, but he'll be fine.
Let's see if there are any
Okay,
more questions.
so let's take 2 more questions. And okay, so we've got a question that I've just seen from 0016. He says, "Can we raid the police stations or military bases to get stuff and equipment and vehicles?"
No, yeah, you can't do that. But another idea I like.
One of the things we can do is go into the police station and grab a weapon out of their trunks. Like you can get a shotgun if you
Oh
haven't
yeah,
unlocked it.
that's a good point. I forgot about that. Dang.
So look at this
But
guy
there's a
here,
risk
right?
if a cop sees you, he's gonna go after you.
Yeah,
But you
you
could
might-
get a shotgun out of that if you haven't unlocked one already.
I mean,
You could get a
it's
shotgun
really,
or you could get shot.
Or you could
That's
get
your
shot.
choice.
Yeah.
it's a nice little early bonus if you're willing to take the risk. Now I just put this guy in the trunk. I think he needed a ride.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm nice. I'm not gonna do anything else bad to him.
You're not going to explode the car?
No, I'm just gonna take him out. Why not?
Just-
Or
No, just-
actually no.
You left the keys.
Yeah, I stole this car, so
You don't have access.
so how about just
So how about you just, maybe if you crash that'll open the door.
it's
Dump them in the hardware. It's fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
or I'm so sorry. That was just a nice guy.
Well, that seems a perfect place to leave today's stream. Guys, I'd like to say thank you for taking part. It's been great. Sam, thanks for all your help. You've been wonderful. And to everybody who's watched the stream, let us know what you think. We really enjoy doing these. Thanks for everyone's questions, and we'll have one again soon. Right, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
That's
Bye.
awesome.
Triad Wars is the flip side of Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs was all about the story of Wei Shen and taking you on a ride through along that story. Finding out what was going to happen to Wei Shen. Triad Wars is the other side of that, which is it's all about Hong Kong and it's all about the criminal underworld within Hong Kong. And this is about you creating your own game.
Triad Wars is an open world action strategy game. It's an online game. It's a PC title. It's a game that's going to change and evolve over time as people play it. It's really a kind of unique experience.
It's all about being a triad gangster who's
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Triad Wars Twitch stream. I'm Andrew Collins, community manager.
Hi, I'm Raul. I'm one of the technical designers in the project. I look after all of the gameplay systems and implementation of the game.
And Steve Ferreira, design director on Triad Wars.
And joining us on the keyboard is Sam. Sam, come in and say hello.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Sam. So, thanks for everyone for joining us today, and hope everyone, we've got some good stuff in store. We're going to talk about raids and operations, lots of entertaining stuff. So to start with, let's get going with some questions. So we've had a lot of questions about the process of raiding. If you're being raided, how do you know that that's happening?
So, you want to take this one?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you're raided, it's actually done while you can be online or you can be offline, it doesn't matter. And so you actually won't know that you're being raided until it's happened. So really what you need to do is make sure that you prep your turf so it's as defended as it can be at all times, because you never know when it's gonna come, and there's nothing you can do about it once it's started. So yeah.
So what's the best way to defend against being raided?
So there's a few different things you can do. Basically building up your turf to have more rackets, so more areas that the players have to go through to be able to raid your turf.
Yep.
Leveling up those rackets and making sure that there is